Hey guys, so I'm here with my cousin Megan and this half demolished gigantic Hershey's chocolate bar that we got at Sheet. And I'm gonna be cutting out sewing patches for cute person making while we talk about child spirits today. And I'm actually gonna start us off with a spirit that has kind of crossed a couple of generations now because we call her Rosie Red Nose because of a phrase that she used to always say to me when I was a kid. And I'm gonna kind of start off with me and then explain what else has been going on in more recent years. Because somebody's obsessed with Outlaw. What you're talking about? Anywho, what she's talking about. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, well, Rosie Rednose is one of those spirits. I had explained before how my aunt kind of brought some things with her during an experience when she was about 13 and dabbling in some things she probably shouldn't have been. Don't mess with the occults, children. Don't mess with the occults.
No Ouija boards. No, thank you.
Some people say Ouija boards are okay. We tend to steer clear of them. They never end well for us.
They don't.
But anyway, I think this is one of those spirits that kind of followed home with her. And basically, Rosie Rednose used to play with me as a child. And she would always lead me to this one tree. And it was covered in different eras of war medals and pictures and tintypes. And she held up this one picture sometimes and went, "This is my daddy. He was very brave." And it had a purple heart hanging from it. And I think that image and showing me that itself was kind of her way of expressing where she came from to a point, or like a piece of her life. And I believe that tree may have been a family tree of sorts and wasn't actually a physical. It was a physical tree, but if you go there on any given day, you're not going to find a tree covered in medals ranging from the Civil War on up, you know, in our back field. It's not going to happen. Well, she would play these games and she would essentially torment our dogs as the years went by with this red rubber ball, and they'd chase it and they'd spaz out and nobody knew what was going on with these balls but me, but sometimes you could hear it bouncing. And that has even carried over into recent years. You can hear the ball bouncing but you don't see it. And I think she's more of a spirit that you have to see through a child's eyes. She doesn't like adults. And in recent years, her little sister has had experiences with this particular spirit. If she's in the middle of dreaming or she's asleep, she'll just giggle. She would just giggle in her sleep and act like she was playing, or sometimes she'd say, she'd end up waking you up in the middle of the night, nose to nose with her, kind of terrified. And you would wake up kind of terrified, actually, because she'd be right here and be like, "We're playing the nose game, and you didn't giggle first. I win." And that's, those things are things that used to happen to me as a kid with this particular spirit. And I think that part of the mystique of this ghost is the rules are you're not supposed to tell the adults about her because she is a very mischievous little child. And she's an adorable little child that I think is from around World War I era. I'm not 100% sure where exactly she's from, but she's from around the World War I era because that is the picture of her father that I'm getting is World War I era uniforms. But that's Rosie Rednose. Now it's Megan's turn to talk about a baby child.
Okay. It's like, which one? There are so many.
Well, which one did you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, I guess we can start off with the latest, which would be, um, this child spirit that I don't know the name of yet, but I call her like Little Blondie or something vaguely like that. So I first discovered Little Blondie when Marie and I, when we were on a Sheets run.
These things will come up frequently in our experiences, by the way.
But yeah, so on our Sheets run, we were driving down this road that, I wasn't really familiar with. So on this like weird route that we went on, I felt that we were about to hit something with the front of our car. Like I was like bracing for it, and nothing happened. But in my head, I kind of like felt that it was like a baby carriage floating on the street, just like waltzing. Like, in those old movies where like a baby carriage would like come out of nowhere in the front of a moving car or in front of like a train, something weird like that. But yeah, it would just like float along, and like I thought we were gonna hit it. But then when we went over the route again, because it kind of became the route. But when we went on it again, I started to see a little blonde girl, like a toddler, kind of running across the street. And I kept bracing for it, thinking we were going to hit her. But it was only in my head. There was no girl actually on the road. And recently I've just been trying to figure out if there was an accident there involving a little baby child. Because at this point I do not know her age. I just know that she's a tiny little blonde girl with blue eyes. Adorable.
We're not going to say the actual road because we don't want people going to look for these things.
No.
Do not harass present people with our experiences. PSA. I'm holding scissors. I'm serious.
But yeah, that's Little Blondie. I've literally figured out nothing. Right now we're just gonna ask our grandma if there was ever an accident on that specific road where that house was to see if there was anything there. And because our grandma is basically kind of like news central, like she would have known.
Yeah, if there was an accident there, she'd probably know about it.
Yeah. So, that's it for Little Blondie. What about you, Ruby?
Ruby?
Oh yeah. Okay.
This one involves both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Because this involves a family-wide experience.
Oh yeah, it was like
literally
4 of us.
Mhm. And we have like backup to corroborate this one.
We do.
Okay, so we live on a kind of family compound, not a Mormon type weird bonnet kind of thing.
Just a regular thing.
Just a regular we all live together kind of thing where we sometimes sleep at each other's houses, and I was sleeping on her couch, which used to be my couch, which is a very comfy sleep-inducing couch, by the way. And it was like 1 in the morning, and I kept tossing and turning. And I had just recently gotten to sleep at that point. And I started having this dream about a fire and a little girl dying in a fire. And at the same time, her brother's bedroom is a point of activity in her house that knows no bounds. Either of them, because he's had two on the bottom floor, and both of them have ended up being very, like, active places. And basically, something was saying his name and had woken him up. And what did he do after that? Did he go to your room?
Yeah, he went to my room to, like, sleep. Because he couldn't handle that. Like, when something whispers your name, you just sort of get out of there.
Yeah, you tend to. And the next day, she was talking to me about, wouldn't it be so sad if... And weird if there was this little girl that just, like, died in a fire, because I started thinking about that last night around 1 in the morning. And I described this little girl to her, and I described the fire, and and she's like, oh my god, how did you know? Well, I had a dream about this last night. Well, that's really weird, because Quinn came up to my room last night because something was saying his name and opening his bedroom door. That was another point to it, was his mom had actually, like, heard all this go down, like, not the name part, but whenever his bedroom door would creak open, I would have apparently this sharp inhalation of breath. Like, she could hear me inhale and turn on the couch. And these were the points where he was hearing his name being called. By the way, I'm making, like, a hodgepodge, like, random-ass patch bag. Mm-hmm. So I'm cutting these in
various
squares. Triangles, whatever I feel.
Yeah. So when my mom was in the bathroom at this point, and she kind of felt her left leg get goosebumps, like literally from toe to upper thigh in goosebumps as this door was creaking open. And normally she wouldn't think anything of it, and that's exactly what she did until we started coming forward with our experience that night. So, with a little digging, no digging, we literally just talked, and now we have this family-wide experience about Ruby.
We figured out that her name was Ruby. We go a lot on vibes, and, like, a lot of sensitives do go on, like, vibes and feelings and what they feel is right for the situation. Like, I feel like her name is Ruby. Yeah, that sounds right. Like the song. Mm-hmm. And, like, she is now literally obsessed with that song.
If you've ever heard Ruby Baby by Dion and the Delmonts, that's the song we're talking about.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. It's very nice, and it literally tells Ruby's story, but metaphorically, kind of.
Yeah. Each time I see you, baby, my heart cries. And it's, like, so fitting, yet mm-hmm. so tragically sad.
Yeah. But that's Ruby. Like, we were, like, in the car on, like, a Sheets run, because of course. We were like,
there's a pattern.
It is a pattern, yeah. You get a couple of sensitives together, it just sort of happens. But we were, like, thinking of, like, names. It's like, it kind of sounds like an R name, like Ruby, like, I think I pointed out the name Ruth first, and then Marie announced Ruby, and I'm like, you know what? That's legitimate.
Yeah. Like, she's actually very new to experiencing these things, and the reason she's in on this video is she experiences mainly childlike spirits. Mm-hmm. Like, child spirits are her thing.
My thing.
My thing tends to be tragedy. I've noticed, like, a lot of tragic things come my way. Except for this one that I'm not going to talk about because she will burst into tears.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and you better stop right now.
She will. She'll cry. I'm stopping with that one.
Okay. Yeah, talk about him another time.
Yeah, I'll talk about him next video. Next
video. Promise. Like, pinky promise. Never break a pinky promise.
Hold on.
Like, my dude, you'll cry. You will legitimately sob.
Tissues. Tissue warning now.
Hashtag Kleenex. Get some. But yeah.
Hashtag non-spons.
It's like after Ruby, you want to talk about Tree Boy?
We can talk about Tree Boy.
Okay.
Tree Boy is actually one that I would see, but she used to play with as a kid. And I'm not 100% sure of his, like, backstory, except for the fact that he fell out of a tree and he now haunts a tree on our property.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure where he came from. I'm not sure what his deal is, but he is just there. He's this, like, sandy blonde boy with blue eyes.
He's got overalls on.
He's got overalls on. His name is Richard.
Richard, Rick, something R.
Yeah. And he's like this sweet boy that just
climbs
trees and never got to grow up.
But yeah. The time where you were walking down and, like, you heard me giggling. Tell them the thing.
This one time I was walking down the path and I heard her giggling and he was doing these cute, like, backflippy tricks and, like, impressing her, and she was just this little baby child who was just giggling and so happy and playing, and it was cute. And I don't 100% know his story, but he is there. To this day, he is there.
On this specific, I think it was a Sheets run when you told me this. Yeah, on this specific Sheets run where I think it was when we finally learned Ruby's name. When she told me about this, I was like getting this weird feeling in my chest. There's like little signals that you know if you're sensitive, that you just know that something's right, like goosebumps,
like something
chills,
just feels
like deep in your bones. You just know it's right. But I was getting these I was getting these feelings, and like there was like tears of joy coming to my eyes just remembering him, because I don't really remember much of my childhood, and I definitely remembered him.
Hashtag traumatic childhood is rough.
Literally. But yeah. So Tree Boy, Richard / Rick, he's definitely one of the good ones. He's always nice.
And then there's the most mysterious of the child ghosts. Your Sammy ghost.
Oh my god, you're so right.
We have no clue, except for that he is probably somebody that our grandfather knew when he was a kid, that ended up, like, dying tragically. And he used to... How many times did he come to you?
Well, I would say at least once, but I don't know about any others. Maybe twice, but it's like a not really definite.
Okay.
We have so many ghosts here, it's hard to lock down who's who.
It really kind of is.
Especially when you've got kids. They're just everywhere.
They are. Child spirits running amok.
But yeah, with Sammy Ghost, my first hardcore experience was one morning when I was getting ready for school, probably last year. I was getting ready for school and I was kind of like, blah, I'd just woken up, my alarm clock was kind of still trying to wake me up, so I like hit it and
beat it senseless.
yeah, just a little bit, just within an inch. But yeah, so I was like laying down on my side, like my legs were half off the bed, just trying to like rest my eyes a bit because I was so not ready. I'm not a morning person at all, in the slightest. But yeah, while deep in my kind of sleep, I was just laying there, resting my eyes, doing my whole shebang, and then I just suddenly hear someone whisper, "Sammy," like really quick, like almost a whisper, not even any kind of voice. And I wake up and I'm like, "Who the fuck is Sammy?" Legitimately, those exact words. And I wake up and like, no one's there. And I'm like, okay, that's legitimate. So that was my first experience with Sammy Ghost. And I think the second one was maybe like a voice in my ear, but not a voice. It was disembodied, kind of.
And like her brother has actually like left, I think, the same spirit, toys. And it would play with toys in his bedroom. Like one of his bedrooms, because both of his bedrooms are
Haunted as fuck.
haunted as fuck.
Yeah, whichever one he chooses, they are just up in his alley.
Yep. And
Especially
he doesn't
Ruby.
actually experience them. He gets like little blips on his radar. And then generally one of us has the full-blown experience.
But yeah, he's had experiences with, I think, Sammy, definitely Ruby.
Yeah.
Ruby, he says that someone's been watching him sleep, and he's experienced, like a little girl, definitely little, brown hair. So it's like hardcore Ruby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got that feeling.
We think that she might be a spirit that was here. Like, our house's old foundation actually burned down. And I've actually wanted to go around with a metal detector and try and find the old foundation and dig in and see what I can find to see, who was here before. But I haven't had a chance to do the metal detecting thing.
Too much yarn, not enough time, or money.
Much truth. Much truth.
But yeah.
Anyway, this video is like 20 minutes long now, so we are going to go. Please subscribe.
Yeah, hook us up, my dude.
And bye for now.
Yeah. Surety in the old man video.